Freshman from Jacksonville, Florida, number 5.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. We are at the Corral on the campus of Georgia Highlands Community College and set for the championship, the game in the GCAA. It's the Titans of Central Georgia Tech, an unlikely team to be in the championship, not because of the regular season exploits, but because they were down by 12 with 2.5 to go in the game against South Georgia State. And then, of course, Georgia Highlands. They've been dominant now for 31 games in a row. Dave Elner, should be a dandy.
Should be. We'll see. That's why we play the game. And we've got 40 minutes of basketball. And glad you could join us here on Job and GCA Sport Network. And we got the GCA championship, so we're going to let it roll, folks.
Starting lineups. Let's take a first look at Central Georgia Tech. Same five that started yesterday, begin today as well. Michael Harden played a large role. Really, the guy, though, that was the hero of last night's contest was in the starting lineup yesterday. Won't be today, but he will see a lot of playing time, and that is Rashad Jones. There's the rest of your starters. Salette Johnson, Moy, Kabiza, and then, of course, we've already mentioned Harden. Well, they've won 31 in a row. Might as well stick with the same five that got you here, and there you got the Chargers of Georgia Highlands. Dean, Evans, Ballinger, Davenport, and Jenkins. I'll tell you who impressed me yesterday was Davenport for this Georgia Highlands squad. He had a dynamite game. So there you have it. Starting lineups. And we are ready to get this one underway. All right, what do you tell your team if you are Central Georgia Tech? I mean, obviously you're facing the number 2 team in the nation. They've won 31 straight there. They're no gimme by any stretch. So what do you tell your squad? What do you tell the Titans to get them motivated to play today?
I don't think that you have to give them any motivation. You look at what you're playing, like you said, the number 2 team in the nation, a team that went undefeated in your conference. So you just let it hang loose and go play basketball. There's no reason for us to be uptight because, really, for Georgia Highlands, they've got that streak going, and sooner or later they know that streak's got to stop. But at this point in the season, you don't want it. If you wanted to lose, you wanted to lose before we got to this point. So,
yesterday when we referred in the second game about the first game, which was won in really an almost miraculous fashion for Central Georgia Tech, we were thinking that, about 5 minutes away from the end of the game, it was about a 13-point deficit, which it was. But I went back, checked out the rewind early this morning, and with 2:29 to go in the game, Central Georgia Tech was down by 12. Oh, there's the guy that we talked about, Davenport.
Well, Central Georgia Tech had several chances to give up yesterday. As we mentioned, if you were tuned into us at the 7-minute mark, Coach Dawson was yelling at his kids, saying that there's 7.5 minutes left. The game's not over. He was very emphatic that the game was not over. And as we saw, the game wasn't over.
For everyone that thought it was, for all of the people who were either Titan or Hawk fans yesterday and left the arena early because they thought the game had already been decided. There's that jitterbug, by the way, Evans tipping it out of bounds. You missed it. You missed Rashad Jones, three-pointer in desperation. Hits it, gets fouled, goes to the line, hits it there. That breaks the tie, and there was just no ability for the Hawks to come back and win it. Well, I say there wasn't. Actually, Sam went to the line and shot a couple of free throws with 2.7 seconds remaining, but he couldn't hit them, and you got the Titans playing today for the championship.
Well, nothing against Sam. Sam alone carried that South Georgia State team with 33 points, and Central Georgia Tech threw everything at him. And but he just missed some key free throws, a couple of extra ones on fouled with 3-point plays, and then the 2 at the end. So there were at least, he missed 4 at the end and 2. He missed 6 free throws. But, you can't put it on one guy's shoulders because it's a whole team game there.
And really, if you were to put that on this one guy's shoulders, well, you can go ahead and put all the other games that got them here on that guy's shoulders, because he averaged 25 points per contest and played a huge role in being able to get South Georgia State into the semifinals.
And let me make a quick point. I last night play-by-play inadvertently had made a statement that Coach Baldwin had been on court when he got run over in an earlier game, and he actually was not on court I mean, guy almost clipped him last night when he was on the court just a little bit, but that game against Albany Tech, he was not on the court because I had seen the video personally myself when he got the football clip. So I just wanted to make a clarification on that. Sorry for the error on my part.
Davenport, a little bit banged up, fell down in the corner, now flexing that left shoulder. Davenport's a guy that you can ill afford to lose, and he doesn't look like he's coming out. Not pain that's going to keep him out of the contest as Dean makes the spin move, puts the shot up. Got fouled, the infraction by Gabiza, and that's been at least the last couple of games for Gabiza. He has had foul problems. Sat out a lot of the first half, then a lot of the second half yesterday because of foul problems, and now picks up a foul here about a minute 15 into this one.
Now, Robert, you and I both know from what we saw last night with Georgia Highlands, it's going to be run and fun or run and gun, whatever you want to put that combination together. But they're not going to come down the court slow. They're going to put pressure on you at all times, and they're going to cause turnovers.
Of course, that would be run and not so fun for the opposition.
If it's anything like yesterday's game, yes, you're correct. Or 30 games this year up to this point, 31.
Only loss of the season was the first game of the year. They lost it to Northwest Florida State, the team currently ranked number 12 in the nation, but at the time they were very highly ranked.
And if I'm not mistaken, Northwest Florida won the national championship last year.
That's right.
And beat Georgia Highlands in the semifinal game out at Hutch.
Exactly right. As a matter of fact, big year for Northwest Florida State a year ago because they also won the baseball national championship. You know, we talked about the Panhandle Conference and the fact that I think the GCAA is starting to gain some of that attention the Panhandle Conference does, especially in basketball, but they won men's and women's basketball. They won softball and baseball last year, national titles. Over it goes to Moy. Moy led the Titans in the first half yesterday with 13. Gabiza dropping it in for 2. Dean going topside to Evans. Dean with it back, 6-4 contest. Evans with a three-point try, winds up in the hands of Mike Harden. Harden will head to the other end of the floor. In the dark, it is Central Georgia Tech. In the white, Georgia Highlands. Dean's got it going the other way. We are at the Corral here on the campus of Georgia Highlands. They got here by beating East Georgia State 104-95 on Tuesday in the quarterfinals. Put 100 on the board again against Chattahoochee Tech last night, 179. Meanwhile, Central Georgia Tech, 53-48 winners over Gordon on Tuesday. And then victors last night, 88-85 over South Georgia State. By the way, got to say, congratulations to the Lady Chargers of Georgia Highlands. They win their contest against Spartanburg, 76-43.
And that's just what I was getting ready to say. You beat me to the punch there. Yes, so they won the District J championship on the women's side, so they are advancing to the Women's National Championship in Lubbock, Texas this year. First year that Lubbock, Texas will be hosting it. You'll be there.
I will.
So you know what you saw them last week down in Americus in South Georgia Tech. So you know what they can do out there.
Indeed, saw them in the semifinals. I had to leave for the championship, but
yeah, we know that to the other conference.
Let's see, where was I last Saturday? Yeah, it was the other conference, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about that in the offseason.
No, actually it was not. Remember, now, hey, I've got a good one that actually had to be at a memorial on that Saturday. That's
you
right.
actually did have one valid excuse out of 10.
That's right.
So,
jumper from Hardin, but a big congratulations going out to the Lady Chargers. And for some reason, I've got a feeling they may be watching the game now. So,
Coach Brandon Harrell.
Yep, great job. 76-43 winners headed to Lubbock. We'll see you there. After 18 years in Salina, the NJCAA Ladies Basketball Championships will be played at Lubbock Christian University. There in Lubbock, Texas. Dean's got it top of the key. Bounce pass goes to Davenport. Feeling that pressure of Tucker just Trying to get an idea where the pressure was, where the defense was, spins around it, gets two, and now you've got a timeout on the floor. It is asked for by Central Georgia Tech. 8-4 contest. We're not quite 4 minutes into the game, a little better than 3 and some change, and you hate to say, when one team has twice as much as you do, that, so far you like where you're at. You may not exactly like it, but comparatively speaking, you're not too unpleased.
Well, here's the thing. 16-43, twice as much lead at 8-4. It's still only 4 points as opposed to 20-40. So it expounds exponentially almost. When you get the higher the score gets and you double the score, the bigger the difference is there.
And the thing that we saw yesterday out of Georgia Highlands is you've got to somehow avoid the explosion. They just have a tendency to just kind of plod along for a little bit and then all of a sudden explode for 15 or 20.
It's like shooting monkey out of a cannon, man. When he gets going, he's gone.
Andre St. Vistal, a 6'2 sophomore from Queens, New York, now in the lineup. Stolen away by Dean. Dean will contend with Harden. Still lay it in, though. Lob down the floor to St. Vistal. Brings it to the hoop. Found a little alley. Able to get by Paris Ballinger. And pop it for 2.
They worked hard after the fast break by Dean to come down and put pressure, but then they didn't get back quick enough. You only executed 75% of that, and that's what Coach Gaffney was a little frustrated about right there.
Into the corner to Jenkins. Jenkins short on the three-point try. St. Vistal's got it. Sends it the opposite end of the floor to Harden. There's the alley-oop and the finish. Jammed in by Anthony Johnson.
And we've got a delay on number 5. Delay warning.
Two-point advantage. Georgia Highlands did not lose to a conference foe during the course of the regular season. 31-1 overall. Central Georgia Tech, they are 20-12. Ball on the floor, battle to get it back. The officials finally step in, call it a jump ball, and the possession arrow has us going to the Titan end of the floor.
Well, whenever the ball the players and the ball get on the floor, somebody's always got to get in that little nudge.
That little extra shot.
That little extracurricular activity, and that's where things can go south real quick. We don't advocate those.
And really, it's kind of the spark that lights the fuse. The fuse may be really long, but it kind of ignites that fuse and simmers. And often at some point during the course of a game, you see it explode.
Well, that's what we try to avoid in all of our contests, whatever the sport. You want the competition, you want everybody to give everything they got, but not to the point where there's Harden again.
Wide open, jamming it in for 2 and tying this one up. 10 apiece, 5 minutes in. I realize there's only a difference of a few hours, but Georgia Highlands did have a shorter break from the conclusion of their game to the start of this one as compared to Central Georgia Tech. Is 2 or 3 hours of any significance?
Well, some coaches will try to work that. When you get this point in time and you're going to go to a national tournament, you're going to play some back-to-backs like that with very little rest. And especially if you get out of hunch, you're going to be out there playing 5-6 days in a row. It's an excuse, and it's usually for ones that are lower seeds. So I don't think it's going to make any difference one way or the other.
Boy trying to get into Johnson. Johnson doing a balancing act on the baseline. Finally lost it. Dean got it, but he had stepped out of the process, and the Titans will still be in possession as Sheldon Williams, a 6'5 sophomore, checks into the lineup. A very busy week for Jock Jive winds to a close. We've got the GCA championships going on, and then Mike Rideouts in Spring Hill, Florida today He's got 6 Dixie Youth baseball games today. He's busy. Speaking of busy, there's a guy, Anthony Johnson. Couple of jams, and he decided to put a 3 into his repertoire. Dean at the top of the key, right side. Over it is tossed to Justin Bridges. Bridges with a miss of the rebound, grabbed by St. Vistal. Harden working to the other end of the floor.
Titans have gone on a 9-2 run here since we just discussed that lead there that Georgia Highlands had at the previous timeout.
So it has been a productive timeout for the Titans. They were down 8-4 when they called the TO, and now they lead at 13-10. Davenport coming down with the rebound. Dean back to Davenport. Had a body to get around. Had to take a sidestep around St. Vistal. Gets 2 and gets fouled.
Davenport is not the biggest guy from a physique standpoint, but he's long, and so he's able to protect the ball a lot of times. And in the course of that, a player trying to go through him to get the ball, there's the foul.
And the foul's got him at the line shooting. Free throw shooting. Suffering early in this one. Mike Harden Jr. with it. Handoff goes to St. Vistal. And again, to reiterate what we talked about yesterday, got a couple of Mike Hardens on one squad. The lone difference being one's a junior. And he's from Alabama. The non-junior is from Georgia. From the baseline, Kimon Jenkins checks back into the lineup, and he will toss in. Got a new face on the floor in Emmanuel Griggs, the 6'7" sophomore from Noonan, Georgia. Everybody is going to play. Both of these teams play a lot of guys, and you've got to with this fast pace. Bridges, the miss, but the foul, and Bridges will see if he can tie it up and give the lead back to the Chargers at the stripe.
Number 3 for Central Georgia Tech, Mike Harden Jr. His first foul, the team's 5th. Justin Bridges is the line for the Chargers, shooting 2.
And there's those problems continuing at the stripe.
Well, that's 2. So, you know, not going to keep count, but we know how that can come back to bite you.
Got a lot of top 25 college basketball going on. And a number of the games are already final. Got to pass along scores. In amongst the coverage, Harden. Over to Williams. Williams dropping in the tray.
Well, we've got a lot of NJCAA tournaments going on across the country too. So this is when we start determining who's going to Lubbock and who's going to Hutch.
Bridges falls, bringing it inside. Harden goes to the other end. Bridges in pursuit. Harden steps in and out of the arc. Shakari Jones coming to the scorer's table, ready to check into the lineup. A little bit of a push by Justin Bridges. We know because the ACCC wraps up that MMI is in. I think the Panhandle Conference concludes today. Region 5, I believe, wraps up their championship today. Not sure about Mississippi. I want to think they've already closed out that region. I think they typically play in Clinton, Mississippi for the title there.
And of course, Region 10 is going on this weekend right now on the men's side as well. That's the Carolinas.
Top of the key to Jenkins. Over it goes to Evans. Has it at the top of the key. Jones now on the floor. Timeline. Gibb goes into the corner to Will Gibbons. Gibbons popped a bunch of threes last night. Shot clock to 2, and Gibbons fires in and out on the 3. Rebound recovered by Evans. Back over to Givens. Let's see if the second time works for him. A little strong that time. Another rebound. Jenkins with it. Winds up on the floor. It winds up in the hands of Griggs, who gets 2.
Wow, does Evans just make stuff happen? I mean, it doesn't even list. What's his height in there?
5'7".
And that might be an exaggeration by an inch or two, but I tell you what, he gets in there with the big guys and he causes the ball to get loose a little bit. He's just in there making it happen.
He's one of those that can switch gears without mashing the clutch.
Oh.
I mean, he just changes directions instantaneously.
You know, if I was willing to bet, his lateral speed is probably just as good as his vertical speed.
By the way, got a rebound, too. Missed the 3, though, and Moy will have it going to the Titan end of the floor. Over to Harden. Moy wants it to the corner, gets it to the corner. Slides it in to Harden Jr., and he will get 2. Number 2, Michigan State beating Ohio State 91-76 today. 20th ranked Texas A&M, a 76-67 winner over Vanderbilt. Number 3, Villanova knocks off Georgetown 84-71. Oklahoma ranked number 6, beating TCU 75-67. Kentucky, the number 22 ranked team in the nation, over LSU 94-77. Number 10 beat 19, West Virginia over Baylor 69-58. That's all the finals, and then you got several in progress. Number 5, Xavier leading Creighton 74-61 with 7:54 to go in the game. Number 1, Kansas, and number 21, Iowa State tied at 22. Still 9.5 to play in the first. Virginia Tech leading number 7, Miami 12-10 with 12:18 to play. Speaking of Virginia Tech, that's got a junior college connection. Head coach Buzz Williams was a JUCO coach, I think, in Region 5.
He was a JUCO coach, then at Marquette.
And then at Marquette, that's right.
And then so being a JUCO coach understands that and actually pulled Jay Crowder, who played for South Georgia Tech, up to Marquette, who's now with the Boston Celtics.
That was kind of the surprise that Buzz Williams left Marquette to go to Virginia Tech.
Well, he went from, I couldn't even begin to tell you what conference Marquette is in, to the ACC. So that's probably why.
And there might have been a couple of zeros added to his salary.
Yeah.
That always seems to have an impact. Time out on the floor, and it is asked for by Georgia Highlands. It is a full timeout. So let's take the 1-minute break with them here on Jock Jock. Got one guy to beat, and he beats him easily into the end zone.
The leading rusher in the country. Look out.
Bouncing away from the search and throw, and that got it. Did he make the grab? Welcome back to Corral.
Everything is okay at the Corral except for when Robert Williamson doesn't let me know we're about to come back on air.
But I did.
Thank you.
I pointed. We were in a conversation.
I didn't want to run off the viewers that we had. I want to keep our viewers. I always want to keep our viewers. But there's a lot of things that are, I wouldn't not say not safe for network, but
just
personal things.
That's right. You know, consumption for you and I as far as to converse about.
Consumption of the hospitality suite is what we were talking about.
That's very important,
actually.
Yes. Yep.
So we can let that cat out of the bag.
I guess so. By the way, posted the text number there at the bottom of your screen, 334-488-1385. If you've watched much on Jock Jive, you probably know why it's there. You want to send a shout-out, you know, go get them Titans.
Let me send a shout-out. Let me send a shout-out to Georgia Highlands College, Dr. Green. We appreciate what you do here at this college, and thank you to all the faculty and staff who came out and dealt with the hospitality. David Mathis working behind the scenes, taking care of a lot of the stuff. Phil Gaffney, of course. The whole crew here at Georgia Highlands. It's been done first rate, and I didn't expect it to be anything less. So thank you, everybody.
Can I say, I guess, as they do in some parts of the world, here. I think that's the way to
Here.
show your support, your endorsement of us. Davenport goes to the line. I don't know where that one's from. 334-488-1385, though, to send shout-outs. And plus, we haven't gotten a selfie. How about the ladies, the Lady Chargers on the bus, watching the game, send a selfie. We'll post it on Facebook in a bit. I think that'd be a little unique. Watching the coverage on their way back from Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Get it up on Twitter as well.
Hand it over to Sheldon Williams, providing the defense. Ballinger. Jumper from Williams. Nothing from outside the paint. Moy came in, tried to tip it in. He tips it out. 7-point lead, Central Georgia Tech. In play to Dean, handed over to Evans. Dean taking on Harden Jr., then takes it outside of the arc. Steps up, nothing there. Over it will go to Evans.
You give Evans enough room right there. He showed last night he can drain that three from right there.
Dean fades, fires, misfires. And guess who's got it? Evans. Just seems to have a nose for the ball. Ballinger with a miss. I don't know if you noticed, but in amongst the trees was Evans.
I mean, he's right in there. You're right. He has a knack of knowing where the ball is or where it's going. You got the smallest guy on the court getting the rebound in the paint, and then he's fighting for the next rebound with two guys over him. That's one thing you can't measure. I mean, physically you can measure size. You can't measure heart.
Evans small in stature, but big in heart.
I'd much rather have a full basketball team of guys like Evans that'll give me everything they got than guys with all the tools that are just prima donnas.
Nice job by St. Vistal, found Harden Jr., and all of a sudden it's a 9-point lead for Central Georgia Tech. And Evans lost it. St. Vistal's got it. Over the shoulder of St. Vistal. Picked up by Evans. 3-on-1 break. Evans. Two more. Dean with the two. And a timeout on the floor asked for by Central Georgia Tech. Rico Dawson up conversing with the official. Got a 30-second timeout, so let's keep it right here. I want to add as well, big thank you to the people here at Georgia Highlands College, from the technical staff who were literally sitting here waiting on me when I got here.
Well, thank you. I forgot about those guys, and they were probably, in your eyes, and mine too, the most important, because you got to get on Eastern time zone and get out of that Central time zone, because you had that mixed up, and they stayed that extra hour for you. So, yes, thank you to all our IT guys here at Georgia Highlands as well.
Made sure that we had exactly what we needed to be able to bring you the broadcast. Of course, you mentioned already the ladies in the hospitality room, and then...
Oh, wow, the food in there? Homemade mac and cheese, barbecue, I mean, coleslaw. I mean, this is not something you went to Kroger and picked up. This was homemade stuff.
I told the ladies in the hospitality room you had me at oatmeal and raisin.
And cookie, all combined, not oatmeal and raisin by itself.
It was delicious, and we thank the hospitality room and the ladies there. But a great job of hosting by Georgia Highlands. I'm sure they'd like to do it again, because you're hosting if you're the top seed advancing beyond the quarterfinals. But there's a lot of other teams that want to be hosting a year from now. Desperation 3 from Harden Jr. And I think the argument was, well, I'm really not sure what the argument was. I thought initially it was that they thought it got the rim and a new shot clock, but either way, Evans was headed to the other end of the floor with the basketball.
Well, here's something that's not smart on Coach Dawson's part. He's got a 7-point lead, and he's been mad the past 2 times, and he's going to push it to the point where he's going to get a technical, and he's going to end up hurting his team. And that's not the time that you want to pick up that technical.
Jenkins with a miss. Moy comes down with a rebound. And now you got some frustrated Chargers. Jenkins wasn't happy with the miss, and then the foul that ensued committed by Ballinger. And now has Cameron Moy shooting.
Shooting 1-1.
Both teams in the bonus. Ballinger coming off the floor. Justin Bridges checking back in for Georgia Highlands. Davenport is back onto the floor too. Here comes Darrell Tucker to the scorer's table. And he will walk onto the floor. Mike Harden Jr. will exit. A 9-point Central Georgia Tech lead. Jenkins to Evans. Inside it goes to Davenport. Slips, falls, rolls out. Touch to Titan last. Chargers will have it. So St. Vistal was the last to touch it. A reminder at halftime, we post the team stats for you, by the way. So between the first and second halves, be looking for that. Davenport with the putback of the team miss.
Ivan Davenport.
Moy with a handoff to St. Vistal. Moy's got it back to the timeline. Trapp able to get rid of it to Harden, and then Harden's bumped by Dean. Well, here's how the shout-outs work. This one, not to anybody here, but to the Lady Chargers for winning the district championship and headed first class to Texas. All right, first class. Is that like the first class airline to Texas?
First class is relative depending on how you're getting there. Whether it's first class airlines, first class train, first class Yellowhound, or first class Greyhound. There's all different kinds of classes there.
You know, I have flown, this tells you the budgets we have to operate from. I flew one time first class, and it was because I had a flight attendant or a ticket operator that said, you know, with all the luggage you got, it would be cheaper to just go ahead first class because your luggage is then paid for. So I said, well, then let's do it. Boy, it is different. I have never,
I've never flown
flight-wise, enjoyed such luxury.
No, that's not a class that I'm in.
But to the Lady Chargers, congratulations, Justin Bridges for 2. Over it goes to Moy. Pounce pass into the paint to Tucker. Lost it. Evans has got it. Fires the 3. He's got it.
Is this that spark you're talking about?
Well, we mentioned that last night Chargers just had a tendency about 3 or 4 times in the game to just explode. And this might be the beginning of the explosion as it's taken away by Bridges and then trying to get it back as Moy, and he commits the personal. And you know, you can almost feel that they think or they feel like they have just found their rhythm, their groove. And it's starting to get that feel for the Chargers. So the Titans have just got to put a bigger gap. They've got to overcome this possible explosion.
Well, the Titans got to play hard full 40 minutes because, you know, even though they're the number 3 seed, they did lose both games to Georgia Highlands this year. And here's the benefit, really. I mean, Central Georgia Tech wins. They're out to Hutch. Georgia Highlands, you would think in all likelihood, being the number 2 team in the nation, getting upset in the finals, would still get an at-large out there. So if I knew that was going to be the case, I'm okay with that because we get 2 teams out there. Now, of course, Coach Gaffney would not be happy because then, they lost the championship.
But Coach Rico Dawson would be ecstatic. So I guess that's just the way life is. Some happy, some not.
Welcome to my world with coaches.
Team make that Evans from the elbow. The miss. Grabbed by Harden. Then Harden threw a little bit of an elbow to get rid of Fritz Lucien, who is on the floor, the 6'8 freshman from Montreal. Team fouled, bringing it into the paint. Love to hear from Canada, by the way, and there's our Canadian connection on the floor. I don't think he got on the floor last night, but he's playing tonight, and I had heard that there'd be viewers in Washington. I make that in Canada, so hey, 334-488-1385. Let us know where you are watching from.
Now, Canada's not a small place. What part of Canada are you talking about?
Could be anywhere.
I figured you.
This was the Montreal area, at least.
Oh, okay.
Where this young man is from.
Eastern Canada.
Handed over to Bridges, who will shoot a very long three. And Lucien, I think he shoved aside Harden Jr. and picked up the foul. And now you got a little extracurricular. And I think somebody was teed up, and who was it? Might be Lucien.
He got it on both of them. It was a foul on Lucien. He pulled the guy over to gain advantage to get a rebound. Then they got it in each other's just up chest to chest. So what the official John Ewald has done is says, okay, we're going to solve this right now. We're going to call a double technical. So we're not going to let this get out of hand any further. We're going to stop it right here. Because I saw some jaw in the previous play, and it's starting to get a little chippy, which it shouldn't. But that's the way you stop it right there.
And, sometimes from a fan perspective, you're saying, well, that really wasn't much. But those guys, the guys running the floor with the whistles in tow, they've got a feel for what's happening on the floor and felt like this was where they needed to step in and issue text to try to keep things calm.
His second foul.
Lucien has come to the sidelines.
10 fouls for both teams.
So what we've got him shooting from the initial foul, and I don't think we'll have, with it being double technicals, we won't have any shots there.
With the double technicals, we now have both into the double bonus. Griggs has come onto the floor for Lucien. Official conversing with the scorer's table. By the way, just for a bit of info, not that any of this would be related to a replay, when you get to the NJCAA championships, you do have instant replay for the officials.
Well, you've got, 22 cameras there?
Not quite. Actually, there may be, if you consider that every cell phone in the arena has a camera on it.
Oh, gosh. Tell me, hey, I've had that come to me. Well, we've got it on film. Well, you know what? Your iPad on the stands is not official. Until we can afford to do it and pay for it the right way, I'm not pulling every Tom, Dick, and Harry, Jane, and Sally's iPhones and iPads out and let's look at all of them.
1 point ball game opportunity for Georgia Highlands to take the lead, which would be the first in a while. Around the 16:43 mark was the last lead they enjoyed. Davenport into the paint, shot up, shot missed. St. Vistal coming down with the rebound. Sends it to Harden. Johnson's got it in the corner. Loud goes back out front. Tyrone Young, a 6'4 freshman from Jacksonville, Florida, now in. And the foul on Harden Jr. I don't know exactly what he did. It was away from the ball, but I saw the end result, and that was Justin Bridges.
Well, he took his arm and basically yanked him down.
You can get away with it if one of the three guys wearing stripes doesn't see it, but if they do, it's a foul. They did. And Harden picks up his second personal.
Well, we were going pretty good as far as the foul count and everything, and just really the past 6 minutes, we've thrown the gear down in low and gone in slow motion, so to speak.
Dean with a miss, followed up with Dean with a make. Chargers grabbing their first lead in about 12 minutes. Dean almost took it away. Pass intended for Harden. Basketball winds up behind the score. Right there at the scorer's table, you got the front row seat, best seat in the house, but occasionally it's not the best seat in the house when that action gets really, really close. Harden picking up the dribble, needs a little help, finds it in the form of St. Vistal. Into the corner, it will go to Williams. Williams with a miss. Dean's got it. Back over to Evans. Evans charges to the
wow,
hoop.
he quit. He hesitated just enough like he was going to pull up for a three. Made the guy just start to come toward him, and then he took off. Wow.
3-point advantage, 3:21 to go in the half.
That's a speed. You just cannot teach that.
Over it goes to St. Vistal. Timeline right side. 5-second violation on St. Vistal. Gorgeous afternoon here in Rome, Georgia, as Evans quickly brings it to the baseline, and he walked with it. Temperatures in the mid to upper 50s. Sunshine.
63 when I pulled in. Wonderful. Considering it snowed 2 days ago.
Taken into the hoop was Young, and there was a foul. Needless to say, just if you didn't see anything else and you saw the expression of head coach Phil Gaffney, it was against the Chargers of Georgia Highlands. 9 times this year, Georgia Highlands scored better than 100 points.
Don't think, well, still 3 minutes left in this half. I don't know that we'll get there today.
Be tough to get there. I mean, they're going to have to go on a roll to get to 100. And of course, if Central Georgia Tech has anything to do with it, they won't get there. Highest output of the season, 116. Dean spinning, shooting, trying to tip it back. Harden will grab it in the corner. Young's got it down the floor to Williams, who lost it on the spin. Davenport to Evans, lays it up, no good. Davenport trying to follow, swatted up, picked up by Griggs. And there's another whistle and another foul.
Foul number 5 for Central Georgia Tech, Anthony Johnson, his second foul.
Anthony Johnson picking up his second foul, the 6'6 freshman from Jacksonville, Florida.
Donnell Dean at the line for the Chargers, shooting 2.
Dean, a Noonan High School product out of Noonan, Georgia, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe a little southeast of Atlanta?
Noonan?
Southwest.
Southwest, right on
85?
I-85 there.
Yep.
Home of country star Alan Jackson.
Did not know that.
Louis Grizzard, writer for the
Very
Atlanta
familiar
Journal-Constitution.
with him, yeah. The
former writer.
Deceased,
He's deceased, yes.
By the way, while we're talking about writers, condolences, Pat Conroy, who's written a lot of great books, I believe passed away this morning.
I did see that. What did he write?
Prince of Tides.
Yep.
I could ask my wife if she could give me a load of books. He played basketball at the Citadel.
Really?
Did. 33-29 score. Davenport leads in. Shot no good. Follow up by Griggs is.
Emmanuel Griggs.
Inside a couple of minutes to play in the half.
It hasn't been that explosion that we saw last night, but they have slowly chipped and chipped and chipped and caused the turnovers and have gotten back in the lead here.
Wouldn't fall in for St. Vistol, but Justin Bridges has picked up the foul that will have the sophomore from Queens, New York shooting. Will Gibbons set to check into the lineup. Nice crowd on hand watching basketball on a Saturday here in Rome, Georgia. One for two. Dean with the glance over to the sidelines, got instructions from Phil Gaffney, works it to the timeline left side. Lob goes into Davenport. And Harden leaned on him a little too hard. Kind of wonder if that tumble that Davenport took early has had an impact on Davenport. He has not had today the kind of game he had yesterday. Yvonne Davenport, 6'8" freshman from Gainesville, Georgia.
Funny to watch the interaction between the coaches and the officials. Coach Dawson didn't think that was a foul. And what we was complaining about it was happening down here on this end of the court. He said, it's happening down here. And you can read the official, John Ewald said, I'll look for it. So they're always working. I mean, I don't care what. There's not a coach in the country that doesn't work the officials in some form or fashion.
Trying to get some kind of angle.
Yep.
Back into the corner to St. Vistol, and there's another whistle, another foul. We've had 20 plus in the first half. All the fouls, a big part of the reason that the game yesterday between Central Georgia Tech and South Georgia State went 2 hours and 17 minutes. And that was just a regulation game.
Well, that game there were a lot of fouls there, but the second game last night was much rougher.
Maybe fewer called, but rougher game. .109 to go, and it's a 4-point game. Half number one of the GCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship.
That's that balance as official. You want to let the kids play, but you can't let it get out of hand. And because if you let them play, they'll play tackle on the basketball court. No, that wasn't a foul.
Rashad Jones in the lineup. Left hand puts it up and in.
Nice shot there.
First look at Rashad Jones. He was last night's hero for the Titans. Dean's got it to Davenport. Davenport winds up on the floor. Lester Roches putting there, the 6'8" sophomore from Ackworth, Georgia. A 2-point game with just about a half minute to play. Half number one. Quick reminder, the game at its conclusion winds up on our 24/7 rewind and on your YouTube channel.
After that, it comes on the GCA Sports Network YouTube channel, as long as we don't pick up some type of music played in halftime and YouTube bans our video for copyright infringement. I'm like, wow.
Yep, we've got 2 links up from last night's games, one for each, and then one game apparently at half. There was a little PA music played.
And then banished to purgatory.
Yep.
It's like, really? It's trying to keep the GCAA down is the way I'm looking at it.
I guess they would argue that trying to help the GCAA with any copyright infringements, but
GCA wasn't playing the music.
Plus, we pay BMI, CSAC, and ASCAP fees, so I would say we're safe there. Out front it goes to Kabiza back into the lineup. St. Vistal from the corner for 3.
That was a big bucket right before half.
Swatted away. Roches sending the Shikari Jones shot up against the wall. In play to Evans. Kicks it over to Jenkins. Air ball at the buzzer. It is halftime, and you could not ask for a closer championship. 37 each in the GCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship game. Back with more, including stats at the half in a bit.
in the country. Look out, he could be gone.
Pouncing away from the surgeon throw, and that got it. Well, she's been the head coach, so she's done her part of the season. And Robinson will get some much-deserved high fives over on the bench.
That was a great hit. Right here. country. Look out, he could be gone.
Pouncey away from the surgeon throw, and that got him. She's been the head coach, so she's done her part of the season. And Robinson will get some much-deserved high fives over on the bench.
That was a great hit. Right here, points outside,
Miller drop it in the three.
breaking ball, high drive, right center field, toward the triangle it goes.
Popped up over into foul territory, and Murdoch getting deep. Murdoch looking for another TD toss. He's got it. Touchdown. Welcome back to Corral, Georgia Highlands, Rome, Georgia. We are set for the final, or could it be the final 20 minutes of this one? At the rate of the first 20, we might have to go more than the next 20.
Well, yeah, because then we would be tied, and that calls for overtime after tie game after 40 minutes.
You know, you look at the halftime stats, and if you didn't look at the score and you only looked at the stats and only part of the stats, you might think, well, the Titans probably should have the lead. They have hit 59% of their floor shots, 61 from the stripe, and they've hit 42% of their threes. The big stat, though, for Central Georgia Tech is the fact they've turned the ball over 13 times, and out of their 15 rebounds have only one offensive rebound. So when you miss, only once have they had another opportunity to score.
Well, I mean, what'd you say the percentage was, 59%?
Yep.
Well, they're not going to miss a lot at 59%.
That is true. But when they do, they've only grabbed one rebound. Meanwhile, 9 offensive boards for Georgia Highlands, and they've only turned the ball over 6 times. So there's part of the logic.
2 points by Dean right there.
Dean, by the way, top rebounder in the first half and the second leading scorer for Georgia Highlands. Had 10 points, 5 rebounds. Kevon Davenport, the number 1 scorer with 11. Anthony Johnson leading the Titans with 9 points, and Mike Harden was tops in rebounds with 6. Josh Salette picking up his 3rd foul. This has been the problem for Salette. It's been the problem for Gabiza, and that's what's kept them off the floor often in the course of the semifinals and the championship. Same 5 that started the contest begin the second half for Georgia Highlands. Dean, Evans, Ballinger, Davenport, and Jenkins. And there is a little different look to the second half for the Titans. They do have Harden, they do have Johnson. They've got Tucker, they've got St. Vistal on the floor. Also got Moy. So a couple of different guys from the first half to the second half of the Titans of Central Georgia Tech.
Mike Harden is the line for the Titans.
They hit 61% of their free throws in the first half. Georgia Highlands 50-50 at the line. And again, the new normal is 60 plus ain't so bad. Used to, 60 was an awful night at the
60
line.
was awful.
Dean fouled, bringing it inside.
You know, it's almost like they've sacrificed the ability to shoot a free throw for being able to run up and down the court.
And I've discussed this with other coaches, and all the emphasis put on the threes. So the practice is three-pointers versus spending more time at the line.
You know, we were talking last night about changes in the women's game going to 4 quarters. I'm going to go on record now. I think in 2 years the men will go to 4 quarters. The only reason they aren't now is because NCAA men, they always like to be known as we're the trailblazers, we're the pioneers of this. When the women come up with some awfully good stuff a lot of times.
Right.
And so it's a good idea, and I think you're hearing it, but they're going to give it a year or two so they'll say, okay, this was not a women's thing.
Let me tell you the part of it I don't like, and nobody gets to ask me. Nobody really
Well, I'm
cares.
asking you, what don't you like about it, Robert?
It's the lack of the one-and-ones. I like the one-and-ones. I think they add a dimension to the contest. That they add a little bit of strategy to the game, and of course that's been taken out of the women's contest, and that's the part I don't like. The 4 quarters, 10 minutes each, I don't have any problem with. But the one-and-ones, I mean, you're forcing, you're adding a little excitement to that first free throw. You're adding a little more emphasis on 1 free throw versus 2.
Well, let me tell you, these 3 games here, if we still had them in quarters, we'd probably still be in 1-and-ones, you know?
True.
So, one thing, too, I do like that they don't do it in the women's game, don't do it in the men's game that they do in the women's game, is that when there's less than a minute or less left and there's a timeout, it's brought up to the 28-foot mark, just like they do in the pros.
Yep.
I do like that.
Yep.
So
I do like that too.
I think that will come about also in a couple of years.
That's something that adds a new dimension to the game and actually keeps you in a contest even if you're down below 2 seconds to play.
So what we can do, you can mark this in the archives and we can come back and we'll look like genies in a bottle, you know?
I'm not going to ask people what we look like currently as Dean floats one to the hoop for 2.
Hey, if we could prognosticate that like we could the lottery, you and I could be retired and be paying somebody else to do this.
And miss all the fun. Johnson with it in the corner. Also, got to mention Quay Ferguson, the guy that's running our cameras. Excellent job. We appreciate the work he has done this weekend here, provided by Georgia Highlands. Matter of fact, he was on last year's Final Four team and GCAA champion, but sat out this year. We'll be back next year playing basketball.
There's one thing. If you got a guy going to the basket, if you're going to hammer him, you got to make sure he doesn't score. Now, the Titans have done a good job of hammering the Chargers in the first half. And I think they sort of took them out of their game a little bit in the first half because, last night Davenport went strong to the basket and had a big night. A couple times that he's gone to the basket in the first half, he got popped, and he was a little more apprehensive after that.
Emmanuel Griggs makes it a 6-point lead. Quick reminder to do all the social media stuff for Jock Jive and the GCAA. Either go to our homepage and you can access all the social media stuff, or simply go to Facebook or Twitter. Find the GCAA, find Jock Jive. Like us or follow us. You're trying to get to 900. We're trying to get to 8,000 likes. Where you at today, by the way? I know you were 5 last night.
Still stuck at 895. We'll get there.
5 away. So we need 5 new Twitter followers for the GCAA.
We were at 800 only about a month ago, so we've had a lot of followers jump in, and we hope we'll pass the word on to your friends, and that way you can keep up on everything that comes out of the GCAA.
Time running out on Tucker. I think we picked up about 40 some odd likes this week on Facebook, but we're still quite a piece from 8,000.
So there's something right there that you don't think that much of about it right now, but you could get in a situation at the end of the ball game, and if you lose by 2 points, well, there you were. You didn't keep track of what the shot clock was.
Bridges. 3-pointer.
If the Highlands heats up in their 3-pointers, that's not going to be relevant at all, anything.
Put in play to Harden. Harden will bring it to the other end of the floor. Again, if you've just joined us for the second half, congratulations to the Lady Chargers. They're headed to Lubbock after beating Spartanburg in the District J Championship.
And what we're hoping there is regular season champion South Georgia Tech. We're hoping they're going to get an at-large bid there because they had a good season this year, ranked in the top 20 almost all season. So, but it just depends upon how other regions fared that were ranked ahead of them. If those teams that were ranked ahead and won, they were okay. If they got upset, then that's gonna hurt their chances to get an at-large bid. But here they were the past 2 years. South Georgia Tech was back-to-back participants at the national tournament, Sweet 16, both rounds. So.
If you are an at-large bid in the tournament, are you automatically facing one of the higher seeds in the early games?
Well, it depends on, let's say, for example, you were this is purely hypothetical. Georgia Highlands loses today, number 2. Well, they would probably come in as an at-large, but you would expect them to still get a good seed in the tournament.
As a matter of fact, I'm thinking back to last year when I was in Salina. I want to think Northwest Florida State came in as a pretty high-seeded at-large team. Rebound grab by Tucker. Harden leans in, off balance 2. Missed. Harden Jr. trying to put it up. There's a foul. And it was Keemont Jenkins who committed the personal.
Keemont Jenkins, his third foul, the team's third.
Third on Jenkins, third this half on Georgia Highlands. Jenkins coming to the sidelines, Davenport and Evans set to check in. Also Rashad Jones literally sitting on the scorer's table, set to check into the lineup, and he will come onto the floor as St. Vistal exits. Ballinger goes to allow Evans on the floor, and then, of course, we mentioned earlier Jenkins leaving and Davenport in.
One reason I forgot why we were discussing why the shorts are shorter. The trend right now is for the girls and the guys to roll their waistband down several times.
So it pulls them shorter. Into the corner. Jones, who had a bomb for 3 in the game yesterday, that really extended the season for the Titans. Hits on 3 here. So it may not be the length of the shorts, it's the roll-up of the shorts. Davenport one on the jam, off the Evans miss, hung on the rim. It rolls out. Titans will have it and a chance to make this one tighter. Mike Harden walking to the mid part of the floor. Dean will offer a little resistance when he gets near the arc. Picking up the dribble, goes to the opposite side of the floor to Tyrone Young, the 6'4 freshman from Jacksonville in. Harden rarely comes off the floor, puts up an air ball that winds up in Griggs' hands. Just such a smart player. Evans knew that he was going to be charged with a double dribble if he picked up, and he waited until somebody untouched it.
And sort of moved his body in there and created a little havoc, and then when the ball got loose again, picks it up, and then he becomes the beneficiary by getting fouled. Wow.
Inside it goes, one-hander. Griggs with a miss. And again, a chance to cut this lead in half or get it to within 1 for the Titans of Central Georgia.
You know, one thing you mentioned that we talked about earlier, the rule changes that you and I neither mentioned, is the 30-second clock is now the same for both men and women, which is nice.
Used to be 35 for the men, right?
Yes.
And then 30 for the ladies. I never really understood that. I thought that if there was going to be a 35, it would be for the ladies and not the men.
And on the ladies, there's no more, 10-second when you bring the ball in to get across half court on the women's side anymore.
Dean fouled, bringing it to the baseline. Who makes these decisions, by the way?
It's the man behind the curtain. No, actually, it's the...
Is that the Wizard?
The Wizard, the Grand Wizard of Oz. No, it's the usually the NCAA Rules Committee, basketball committee. I don't know exactly what hoops they have to jump through, but there's a process.
And there's a purpose, and I'm assuming it's to either speed up the game or to make it more exciting, draw more fans.
It can even be, from a safety standpoint. So there are multiple reasons they look at it.
Harden's got it top of the key, hands it over to Jones. 13 to go in this contest, and there's another foul.
Foul's on number 1 for Georgia Highlands. Malik Evans, his first foul. That's the team's
First foul on Talik Evans.
It's hard to believe this is first with as much as he's involved in.
Yep. And as much havoc, and that's good havoc, that he creates on the floor. Slipped through the fingertips of Harden Jr.
Harden Jr. was trying to back up toward the goal to create a little space, and the pass was just a little too far out away from him, so it scooted out of bounds.
Over it goes to Will Gibbons, who is checked into the lineup. He is the three-point extraordinaire for these Chargers. Evans sliding it in. Left-handed layup by Griggs, sat on the rim. There's a foul. And it's the guy that shot the shot, Emmanuel Griggs.
His second foul. That's the team's 5th foul.
After we wrap this one up, the only thing left this weekend, Mike Rideout down in Spring Hill, Florida, with Dixie Youth Baseball. And then for us, it starts again Monday at the Toyota Center in Houston. Handed off to Jones. Fakes to Harden Jr. Shot is rejected. Put back no good from Tucker. Here comes Evans, 2 on 2, and he's just got such great floor awareness. Knew that Dean was nearby.
Evans with the assist.
Talik Evans played his high school basketball in Macon, Georgia at Rutland High School. And he's one of those guys you wish you'd known about and had a chance to see at the prep level as well. And love to see how he performed at the high school level.
Well, you would think at Macon, Coach Dawson probably would have seen him or heard about him.
Tyrone Young shooting after Ingram. I'll make that. Griggs picks up his 3rd personal.
We were discussing shoe styles last night that everybody seems to be sporting their own. The Gibbons has got the magenta Nikes out today.
Well, and so does
Talik.
Yep.
Talik Evans has got the.
It's more pink, isn't
more
it?
More pink, yeah.
Low post to Davenport. Davenport had 11 in the first half. Tucker coming down with the rebound.
Davenport had a quiet 11 points in the first half.
I was a little surprised, actually, to see him leading the charge because he had been so quiet with the 11. Picks up the foul there, not so quietly.
Number 3 for Georgia Highlands. Keon Davenport, his 2nd foul, the team's 7th. Cameron Boyd at the line for the Titans.
Titans in the bonus for the rest of the half after Davenport's 3rd personal.
There's that missed free throw that could come back to haunt you later on. If you're Central Georgia Tech, you need every point you can get right now, down by 6.
Dean missing the shot, got fouled though. He will have a chance to make good at the line. Tucker picking up the foul. Actually, that was Young with a foul. It's his 2nd. And Dean will shoot. A rarity these days as Dean makes both. 8-point advantage, Georgia Highlands. Moy back onto the floor, goes over to Harden Jr. at the timeline. Left side, backs it out with a right-handed dribble. Penetrates. Lucian's back on the floor, and Harden Jr. winds up on the floor. Let's see who fouled him. It's Lucian Jr. I'll make that Lucian. That's his third. One of the three, the technical, that got him seated for a bit. One more for Harden Jr. And it's a 6-point game. Dean near the elbow, brings it to the post. Outside it goes to Evans, fires the three. Short on the shot. Tucker and Davenport battling for it. Coming up with a loose ball, Gibbons. And a brand new shot clock. As we're about a half minute away from 10, Harden Jr. reaching in and fouling Evans.
Can't expect Mike Harden Jr. to guard Talik Evans one-on-one right there. That's not fair to Harden.
Harden, a 6'5" freshman from Smith Station, Alabama.
Just watching Harden these past two games, I think he's going to be a player to watch next year. He's just got that, to me, that basketball physique that you see. You just see it. Mm-hmm. You can't explain it, but you know it when you
you know it when you see it.
You know it when you see it, exactly.
Evans trying to extend the lead once more to 8, and he does it. I mentioned 9 times previously Georgia Highlands has hit the 100 mark. I don't think it's going to happen today unless we went to OT. 31 games in a row. Lone loss was the very first game of the year. Lost 98-72 to Northwest Florida State. Tucker wrapping it up, trying to get it back. Davenport swatting it away. Picked up by Gibbons. Over it goes to Dean. 2-on-2 to Davenport. Stripped away by Jones, but he was charged with the personal. Rashad Jones picking up his first. He is a Conyers, Georgia a native. That is, by the way, an area I think that's pretty close to where D3 plays their championship, around Oxford.
Yep. Just a little west of Oxford, a little closer into Atlanta, right off of I-20.
Harden in and out of the paint. Dumps it underneath to Tucker for an easy 2. 7-point game, 9:45 to go. Evans trying to turn the corner on the Titan defense. Will bring it out front once more and reset the offense. Tries the left side. Ball winds up on the floor. Davenport's got it. Takes it to the glass. And there is a foul on Lester Roches.
Foul on number 32 for Central Georgia Tech, Lester Roches. His second foul, team's 9th.
Second on Roches.
Kevon Davenport at the line for the Chargers, shooting 2.
Eight-point advantage. Winner brings home the biggest piece of hardware, but you got a runner-up trophy to hand out as well. What other trophies do we hand out at the end of the game? Is that it, the 2?
We've got, because we've got a Coach of the Year trophy, I'll have to mail the Player of the Year because he's already gone home.
That, of course, being Sam Davenport. 2 more for the Chargers. And Georgia Highlands got their first double-digit advantage of the contest. Central Georgia Tech asking for the timeout. Let's take the break with them. We're at the GCAA Championship bout here on JockJive.com.
Level of the NJC.
Welcome back. GCAA Division I Men's Championship game. Georgia Highlands. Let's face it, they're going to be the favorite coming in. They're the number 2 ranked team in the nation, have won 31 games in a row. They are taking on a determined Central Georgia technical squad, which showed us last night, hey, 10-point lead, no big deal, especially with 9 minutes to play. Titans coming in with a 20-12 overall record. 31-1 is Georgia Highlands. Hand it over to Jones. Looked inside to Roches. Instead, Tucker's got it. Spins towards the glass. Got the shot off, then got it rejected. Evans going the other way. 2-on-2 the break. Brings it to the glass. Got the side of the backboard. And Roches will kick it out to Harden. Tipped away from Jones. And that was Evans somehow getting back.
Evans was the one that got his shot blocked, went from baseline to baseline, yet he caused the foul, but I'm continuing to be amazed by what he's doing out here.
And he's just a freshman, by the way. So next year, you just might watch him do the same.
You sit there at this pace and you wonder, at least I'm wondering, if they advance to Hutch, can they play this type of pace every day?
I guess that's the question. If you do, you just might be playing in the title game.
Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't put if they do advance, I wouldn't put anything past them because last year they got to the Final Four with only 7 ball players.
Yep. Keep in mind, though, before you get there, at least from a championship perspective, always and even probable that should the Chargers lose this one, they will get a bid, an at-large bid. But still got some Titans that have no intent on letting Georgia Highlands go to Hutchinson, Kansas as the GCAA champions. Davenport makes it a 12-point game with 8 to go. Harden getting around the defense, dumps it underneath. Johnson puts it in for 2.
Anthony Johnson.
Back to a 10-point ball game. Dean surrounded by dark blue jerseys. And we'll see who the personal is here. It's on Young. It's his 3rd. Puts the Chargers into the double bonus.
Shooting blue.
Lucian and Davenport come off the floor. Gibbons and Jenkins in. Dean 1 for 2, rebound grab by Tucker. Kicked out to Harden. Chargers already with one team headed to the national championships as Harden brings it inside. Rebound taken by Griggs. And now Georgia Highlands trying to bring 2 to that national tournament. Evans from the corner. Dips the three in and out. Tucker to Harden. Johnson over the shoulder. Evans almost took it away from the backside. Harden off the rim. Kicked out. Johnson with it. Over to St. Vistal back in the lineup. Tucker off the glass. And it's a single-digit game. Technical on Rico Dawson.
It finally hurt enough.
Rico Dawson, you could see as soon as he called the timeout.
He went right after him.
The focal point was the officials.
Well, see, here's the point I try to make to coaches. He's mad. He should be coaching his ball players right now instead of...
Not the point of the contest where you want to give them a chance for two and then give them the basketball as well. 6:48 left to play. There's a timeout on the floor. Let's take the break, too, on Jock Chime. At the 36-yard line. Jarvis Hall
awfully close. Campbell wave and miss. Strikeout, getting over. The Royal team leads the man at third.
6 minutes, 48 seconds left to play. 9-point lead, but it might turn into double digits as Will Gibbons is at the line shooting after the technical foul on Rico Dawson, the head coach for the Titans of Central Georgia Tech. Well, thus far it's been costly. 2 points. And now let's see what happens on the possession, which, by the way, changed hands. Could be a 4 or 5 point swing.
Well, you can sit there, you know, if he ends up losing this ball game, and let's say he loses it by 4 points, you can't point to anybody else.
Titans will have it back. Well, the thing that you can gauge is what kind of impact it does have, even if you don't lose by 4.
Here's the question. Now let me, in all fairness to Coach Dawson, that might have been strategic to try to get his players fired up. Because I can tell you, coaches do that.
Oh, yeah.
Coaches will tell you, hey, I'm going to say something to you. I need you to tee me up, and I'm going to walk away. You don't show them up, but you get that technical. Nobody knows it but you and the official.
I guess the question is, though, when you get inside 7 minutes down by 9, can you afford to give up 2 points as a gamble to motivate?
Well, that's...
I guess that's why you coach. You take those chances. You decide which is more valuable, if that be the case.
But having the two different cases right there, I don't think that was the case in this situation, because then Coach Dawson would have headed back to the bench to coach up his team. Where he got the technical and his assistant coaches were talking to him, he was still talking to the officials.
Back to a double-digit lead, 11-point advantage, a contest that has consumed better than 1 hour and 35 minutes of real time. And still with almost 6 to play, swatted out of bounds by Dean. Jenkins out, Davenport checks in for Georgia Highlands. Into the corner, it goes to Harden. Bounced out by Young.
Say a good pass there, he probably would have had an opportunity for a three-point shot. But because, you can't catch a pass at your feet right there.
All the NBA games today, by the way, get underway at night. Cavaliers hosting the Celtics, Knicks the Pistons, Wizards the Pacers, Pelicans the Jazz, Timberwolves the Nets, Rockets and Bulls tangle, Kings and Spurs, and the Clippers and Hawks. I haven't checked on the Warriors lately. How are they doing? Still 5 losses. 55-5.
You're asking me how the pros are going? I just barely have time to keep up with our region.
Well, that's that one part of the NBA I'm interested in. Will they break the Chicago Bulls record of, 72-10? There's another foul, and that one is committed by Will Gibbons. So let's see, you've got a 55-5 record. That means you're at the 60-game mark. You got 82 total. You got 22 to go. And in the 22 remaining, you've got to finish 18-4.
18-4. Man, you were struggling to get to that.
I know.
I already had it in my mind, but you were working that abacus over there, really trying to get everything right.
Pen, ink. Outside of English, science, social studies, history, math was the only thing I struggled with in school.
I'll take you at your word there, Robert.
Yeah, don't. 5:07 to play. 12-point lead.
Yep. Central Georgia Tech was staring at this same thing last night with a 12-point deficit. So
I was about to say, Titans have got the Chargers right where they want them. Evans with it, top of the key. Lost it. Harden's got it.
A little too fancy.
3-point try. In and out of the cylinder. Foul on Evans, and Evans claiming he got fouled. And says, look, see, my jaw's swollen, my eyes about to shut.
He's selling that one, isn't he? He might have got popped coming around from behind there. The guy wasn't expecting, but you also saw, I think, Evans slapped his wrist in order to get that ball loose.
(70-59), 4:39 to go. GCAA title game. Cameron Moy back onto the floor for Central Georgia Tech. And Tucker good with a 2. Ten-point game. Dean's got it, squares up, looks over Jones. Spin move, floats it towards the hoop, tapped out. That is Gibbons who puts up the shot. Tucker grabbing the rebound, over it goes to Jones. Fires down the floor to Harden. Harden into the paint, pulls up, floats it, won't fall. Got it back, and guess who reached in to take it away? Evans going the other direction. Lobs it to Dean. Dean 6'1", and that's not his forte. The jams on the alley-oop, but tried to get it back to somebody who could, the 6'7" Griggs, and apparently it goes out. Moy's got it, heads to the right side of the paint, sends it into the low post to Anthony Johnson. And Johnson hits it for 2.
Nice little touch shot there by Johnson. Timeout called by Central Georgia Tech with 3:40. Down by 8.
Single-digit game. It's possible with 3:40 to play.
Southern to serve to begin
Got one guy to beat, and he beats him easily into the end zone.
The leading rusher in the country. Look out.
Bouncing away to the search and throw, and that got it. And Murdoch, did he make the grab? 3 minutes, 40 seconds left to play. I know, Dave, that you've got to step aside here in a bit to take care of some trophy handing out duties at the conclusion of this one. Let me say thank you very much for the opportunity to broadcast GCAA basketball. Third weekend we've been in Georgia, and I guess we'll spend a little time away until the latter part of April for the GCAA softball in Locust Grove, the baseball in Darton. Last time that will happen in Darton, at least in a while. And that happens in May. So looking forward to it. Always enjoy working with the GCAA.
Well, we appreciate you guys at Jog Job working with us to get our product, which are our sporting events, out to family and friends that can't make it to our championships. And that's our goal right there, is to be able to do that. So thank you for everything that you do. And not only that, but thanks to our viewers that tune in and put up with us and listen to us banter back and forth.
Yep, if it weren't for them, no point in us bantering back and forth. Dean with a slow stroll into Charger territory. Jones providing the defense. Shot clock down to 9. Dean leans in. Shot no good. Johnson has the rebound. Chance to make it a 6, maybe a 5-point game. The 3. It's a 5-point game. Moy.
Well, if you're Coach Gaffney right now, you can't play not to lose. You got to play to win.
And Evans is a guy that plays to win for 2.
So many teams, they'll get the lead and then they'll play not to lose, and they end up losing.
Johnson bringing it baseline. Over it goes to Jones. Harden's got it out front. Shot clock halfway through at 15. Over to Jones. And there is a foul.
Number 0 for Georgia Highlands. Now Dean in his 3rd foul.
Dean picking up his 3rd foul. That has got Jones, his 0 counterpart at the line. So Dean with the foul. Jones will shoot with 2 minutes, 26 seconds remaining. A 6-point game. Now 5. And the Titans aren't out of this one yet. Plenty of time left. As a matter of fact, there was 2:29 left in last night's contest between Central Georgia Tech and South Georgia State. The Titans were down by 12. And they came back and won it by 3. That is a turnaround in the course of 2 minutes and 29 seconds of 15 points. Evans in and out on the 3. Davenport's got it. And there's another shot clock, a brand new one for Georgia Highlands. Two-possession game with 1:43 to go. Evans. Gibbons for 2. Tucker on the floor twice. Hands it over to Harden. Harden into the paint. Leans and chips it off the glass. And Central Georgia Tech stays within 5. And again, Georgia Highlands will drain the shot clock. Inside single digits before Evans goes to the stripe, slips, falls. It will head out, and the Titans will have a chance to make it a 1-point game despite the efforts by Will Gibbons to save. One minute left. And it looks like Evans has gotten banged up and comes to the sidelines. Boy, that's painful for Georgia Highlands. Shakari Jones leaning in. Tucker trying to pick up the Harden miss. Foul call on Griggs.
Foul on number 20 for Georgia Highlands, Emmanuel Griggs. His fourth foul.
They continue to work on the left calf of Talik Evans.
Tucker Jr. in the line for Central Georgia Tech.
Meanwhile, Griggs will shoot. Big free throws for Griggs, and he misses his first. An opportunity to leave the line in a one-possession game, but it will still be two possessions as Ballinger checks in. Jones out, now coming back onto the floor. Bridges and Griggs will come out for the Chargers. Update on Evans, he's now standing. And we'll see if he gets back onto the floor before this one wraps up. .74-70, 43 seconds remain. Ballinger might have got away with a walk. And there's Harden fouling Will Gibbons. Gibbons will shoot. Griggs about to check into the lineup. Also, Jones will get onto the floor as well. Evans still on the sidelines. And they're working on that calf. One more for Gibbons to extend the lead to 6, regardless of what happens, though. Still a two-possession game, unless, of course, Gibbons gets the rebound and puts it in. Nobody else near the lane for the Chargers. Jones almost lost the dribble. Bounce pass out front to Harden. Titans have got to get something relatively quick. Harden will go to the line and shoot. Quick reminder as we head near the end of our coverage, we'll be in Houston, Texas on Monday for coverage of the Southwestern Athletic Conference basketball tournament, a pre-tournament show on Monday, and then quarterfinal action on Tuesday and Wednesday. It's all right here on Jock Jive. Thursday, LBW baseball. Lorraine B. Wallace Community College down in Andalusia, Alabama will have their baseball matchup on Thursday. I think that night, Fort Dell baseball. Of course, right now, Mike Rideout is in Spring Hill, Florida. Dixie Youth Baseball, regular season coverage. As a matter of fact, it's the opening day of the season there, and he's got a 6-game agenda, so he's probably about 4 or 5 games in with just a little bit more to go. Gibbons fouled by Moy. Of course, a reminder that if you would like for us to do this for you, email info@jockjive.com, I-N-F-O, info@jockjive.com. Social media stuff. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Vine. Do all that for us. We keep you updated on what's going on, where we are at. Scores, schedules, and more. And don't forget to become a premium channel member. We get you free downloads of everything at just $19.99 a year. Couple of misses for Gibbons. Harden into the paint. High off the backboard. And it caught something really high off the backboard. The cabling that holds it in place, and that means the ball is turned over to the Chargers. So become a premium channel member. A little less than $20, and heck, you can get 2 downloads, and it's more than paid for the coverage. Ballinger is fouled by Hart. And Ballinger will be shooting free throws.
Once again, a reminder, immediately after this game, we'll be presenting the all-tournament team. runner-up championship trophy.
I hadn't looked at my phone in a bit. See that we've had a few shout outs. Hey, Corey Black, great to have you on the other side of the coverage. I know you were able to watch some of the ACCC and now some of the GCAA. Great to have you watching the coverage. Don't forget, where Corey is concerned, you can go to cblackhoops.com, JUCOreport.com to get all kinds of information on everything JUCO. Over goes to Tucker, fires the three. Misses, and Gibbons will be fouled by Jones with 4.1 seconds remaining. Best wishes, Chargers, from the District J Champs, your Lady Chargers, who are almost home. Men Chargers almost home as well. 4.1 seconds left, 6-point lead. It's been hard fought. Titans gave them all they could handle, but Georgia Highlands is about to make a return trip to Hutchinson, Kansas. Gibbons to shoot again. Chargers headed to Lubbock, Texas for the NJCAA Women's Championship and the Men Chargers on their way to Hutchinson, Kansas for the NJCAA Men's Championship. This one is final, 78-72. And Georgia Highlands comes away the winner. Back to wrap up the coverage after we take a break.
Southern to serve to begin
Got one guy to beat, and he beats him easily into the end zone.
the leading rusher in the country. Look out!
Bounty away from the surgery throw, and that got it. And Murdoch, did he make the grab? Well, this one has gone final. It is a 78-72 win, as Georgia Highlands has knocked off the Titans of Central Georgia Tech. They have advanced to play in the championship series that begins a week from Monday in Hutchinson, Kansas. It's been a big day for Georgia Highlands. Ladies and men victorious and both assuring themselves spots in championship play. Titans put up a fight, got close late, but just could not overcome Georgia Highlands. They finished their season 20-13. For Georgia Highlands, it improves to 32-1, and they have won 32 straight. Thanks so much for being on the other end of the coverage. It's a delight to have you aboard. Our thanks to Georgia Highlands. Such a great job hosting. Dave Elder, the commissioner of the GCAA. We'll see you in Lubbock and in Hutchinson. Robert Williamson, for our camera guy, Quay Ferguson. So long from the corral on the campus of Georgia Highlands.